Hi, I'm Clint Eastwood, and I'm a Harrison Hellraiser. You got that? Okay.
Next on Reboot Your Life. Can you train your own brain using hypnotherapy for emotional stability and stress reduction? We then speak with an out gay actor about resilience and being true to yourself during this Pride Month.
From Riverside Recovery, it's Reboot Your Life. Experience the ultimate reboot of your journey. Start anew and rediscover you. Transform your story. Rewrite your life. It's Reboot Your Life with Cary Harrison.
And from the Riverside Recovery Studios in Tampa, Florida, Cary Harrison with you, and thanks for joining us on Reboot Your Life, where we help you get back to life you love. Well, one of the great joys is being able to interview fascinating experts from around the world. And we know that the brain and then people's thoughts are always central to their behavior, their attitude, and the way that life tends to unfold for them. Our next guest is known as the Hollywood hypnotist and the master of suggestion. He's been seen on MTV in Las Vegas, covered by Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC, Bravo, People Magazine, Star, Cosmopolitan. Shall I stop? Let's just say many others. Kevin Stone is recognized as the #1 global expert and authority on hypnosis. He's hypnotized over 1 million people for smoking, for weight loss, for stress, and he holds the highest honorary awards and degrees as a board-certified hypnotherapist. His techniques are sought after by world and business leaders, top athletes, even celebrities. Kevin Stone, we'd like to welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cary. Man. I'm exhausted just listening to that. I was like, Cary, take a breath, take a breath. You know, that's a lot to say.
So you got to hit it out of the park now, because otherwise I'm going to look very bad.
Thank you for that introduction. That's amazing. Sometimes when I listen back to that, I go, wow, that's a lot of accolade.
Listen, if I can make people blush, I have won. So let's jump into it. Hypnotism. Sure. We've seen movies, we've seen Dracula, we've seen whatever we've all seen. Oprah upside down, it doesn't matter. We don't really know what this is. We just know, somebody's got a watch. Yeah, here it is. There's that picture.
There it is. Yeah.
Run, hide. Should we run, hide with hypnotism?
If you want to. That's what we're programmed to do in our world, because you know, TV, the movies, books, sensationalize what hypnotism is. And in actuality, it's a natural, organic process. And we go in and out of it about 1,000 times a day. It's our natural state. It truly is.
So, in other words, you self-hypnotize without even knowing it?
That is correct. So common forms. When you're driving up on the highway freeway, just driving along, minding your business, listen to the radio, listening to this. Right? You missed your exit. It was 3 exits back somewhere. Now, people are nodding their head right now going, oh, yeah, that happens to me all the time, right? Watching a good movie, reading a good book, childbirth, yoga, karate. All of these are forms of hypnosis. Why? Because you're focused and concentrated on one thing and not realizing what's really happening, right? Or just like when you're sitting in class at school, not paying attention, daydreaming. That's a common form of hypnosis as well.
Okay. So I think in the purpose of purposive hypnosis, in other words, you're doing it on purpose to help someone quit smoking, lose weight, whatever. You're actually, you have an end game in mind. And so it, in a sense, I'm not going to say rewires the brain, although it might if there's enough repeat activity going on. But that's the goal. So there's actual goal. But if you're self-hypnotizing by daydreaming in class, are you changing your reality in that mode, or is it just a flight of fancy?
No, you are changing your reality. And that's an excellent observation, Cary. I'm going to tell you why. Because that's where the misnomer of what hypnotism is, where the control comes in. All I'm doing is controlling the environment when you do it in a formal fashion. Right? Because again, if we go in and out of it all day long, about 1,000 times a day, what I'm doing as the hypnotist is actually creating an environment to allow you to not to be distracted, to really focus and centralize on the issue, let's say it's smoking or weight, that's what we're mostly known for, but hypnotism has an amazing broad range of whatever it is you want to change in your life. The application is possible.
So does hypnotism have like a long-lasting effect on weight loss?
Permanent. Once you're hypnotized, absolutely. See, your brain is a computer system. And once you program that computer, just like when you're on your own computer every single day, what you tell that computer to do is going to do. So whether right, wrong, doesn't matter, positive, negative, it's going to do that. The important thing to understand and always remember is all behavior is learned behavior. So the good news is you can change your behavior, and hypnosis is the ¡1 tool to do that. Yeah.
Now, I've been on cruise ships. I know. Really? You have? How unusual. Well, I have. I've been on cruise ships. And there's generally a hypnotist there, and he will make people cluck like chickens, and everyone applauds and claps. I don't know how real that is. I mean, is that real? Is that really what's happening there?
Absolutely, positively. I don't know about the cluck chicken thing. See, again, that's the thing we're programmed to do. I've been in this business for over 30 years. I have a lot of colleagues. I also do comedy stage hypnosis shows. And so I don't know any of them who do the cluck like a chicken thing, but that's what's programmed in our minds. Why? Because that's what we see on TV or in the movies or in cartoons. But does it really happen? No, I don't know anyone who does that. And if they do, send me the videos. I'd love to see it because, you know, what does a person look like when they cluck like a chicken? I don't know because I've never seen it. But
they usually pick the biggest, wobbliest people in the audience because it's, let me just say, it's burlesque. If you bring out like a hot, you know, well-built person clucking like a chicken, it's like, okay, but you got to bring someone who's going to fall down and try to get up on one wing. It's pretty good, I got to say.
On one wing? Cary, I think you're in the wrong business. I think you should have been a comedian.
That's what they tell me. We'll see. Let me jump into one other thing here. Let's talk for a minute about being open to hypnosis. For example, some people imagine themselves to be fairly smart. I like to throw myself in that class. It may be pure vanity. It may be nonsense, but I like to pretend that maybe I'm a little smart.
Sure.
And you're going to hypnotize me, and I'm going to be like monitoring what you're like. That's interesting. He's pulling out a watch. It's going left, right, left, right. Am I going to actually become hypnotized, or am I too cynical to like do this?
What if I were to tell you you were hypnotized right now? How would you? How do you feel about that?
I'm not sure. I feel good. Is that the right answer?
You can give any answer you want. You're not going to offend me. I've been doing this a long time with the stigma of what everyone thinks and everyone knows. That's why I do these interviews, to educate, uplift, and inspire people to really understand the natural, organic process. And if you harness that process that is God-given, why wouldn't you want to utilize it in your life? And I speak from experience, Cary. Why? Because I was that guy too. You know, I come from a very conservative background, and this stuff was always what I thought, like everyone else thinks. It's like, you know, what you see in the movies on TV, and that stigma will always be there. But people like me, you know, there's a lot of people doing interviews like me and professionals who are really allowing people to understand what this power is. It's a natural, organic resource. Tap into it. It will change your life, because it changed my life. And like you said in the earlier introduction, I've changed over 1 million people's lives with the application, teaching them how to do what you're already doing. So it's really not me. I don't have the power. I don't have the ability to control you. No one does but God. So for me, all I'm doing is teaching you how to tap into the natural resource and utilize it for your personal life. So I'll show you how you're hypnotized right now if you want to do that. Are you brave enough?
Even if I'm not, you've already said you're going to do it. So sure, let's do it.
Right, because I've already done it.
Yeah, it's actually you've already done it. So the cat's out of the bag. So do
Right.
tell.
So everyone watching, everyone listening, if you're driving, don't do this. Cary and everyone take
I
your
like
hands.
the
put them up
disclaimer because you'll have to sue him if you're driving and something happens, not me.
Yeah, right. Right. We're not going to go into hypnosis. I'm actually showing you the applications of suggestibility and the power of your mind and what your mind is capable of doing simply. So take your hands, put them up like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Now take them down, fold them down just like this. Take your two pointing fingers, put them up just like that. Now, don't look at me. Look directly down the center of your two fingers. Focus and concentrate on my voice. You'll find that starting right now, those two fingers will start to move in closer and closer together as if there's two magnets pulling and tugging, tugging and pulling. Closer, closer, closer. Now they're going to touch. When they do touch, you're going to reach the height of your suggestibility. Touching, touching, touching. Good. You can relax now, Cary.
You know what? Honestly, and I will say this.
Go ahead, tell them exactly what you felt.
Exactly,
you didn't do that for me.
It started happening before you said they were going to start closing. They started to close, and then I could not stop them, and I just watched as if I had no control over my own fingers, and they touched exactly as you did it.
That is correct.
Wow.
So
okay.
That is the power of suggestion. Now, I've already found, now hypnotism is done with language, right? It's how you communicate and how you receive communication, which I determined within the first 10 seconds of our conversation. Okay. So once I understood that, I'm able now to speak to your most powerful part of your brain, the subconscious mind, which is 88% of your brain's capacity. That's where all information is stored. So once I understood how to access that point, I'm able to give a direct suggestion like we just did with that simple demonstration and allow the fingers to take that suggestion and move without your conscious will. That's the simplicity of what has happened here with suggestibility. And that happens to us all day long. It's all around us constantly. So why not control that suggestion to be positive suggestions instead of negativity? Because as you know, especially in the last couple of years with the pandemic and everything, we're still trying to recover. Why not continue to surround ourselves with positivity instead of the negativity that bombards us every single day?
Yeah, and being able to have the tools to upskill, to survive, to navigate the shoals of uncertainty. This is what we've all wanted ever since the days of Plato and Aristotle and great authors and thinkers. It's always been about how do I survive and get ahead? How do I see around those corners? And this is a way for us to help ourselves with a toolbox you're talking about. Cary Harrison with you. This is Reboot Your Life. This is Rethinking Heroes. We're talking to Kevin Stone, a globally recognized expert on hypnosis. He's been featured everywhere from MTV to Entertainment Tonight and People magazine. He's a board-certified hypnotherapist who's hypnotized over 1 million people for issues like smoking and weight loss, stress, with techniques highly sought after by world leaders, top athletes, celebrities, of course. Stress being the key word for everyone's life here, Kevin. Everyone has stress, and it's almost impossible now to deal with. What are the techniques you do to help people cope with stress?
Yeah, well, self-hypnosis is a very powerful tool which can be learned. You can go to my website or you can learn it online, but there's different ways of doing it. And I truly believe that the technique that I devised many, many years ago is the one that's powerful and effective. Not because I'm saying so, it's because that's the feedback I have received from the people utilizing the tool. So it's just that form of doing your self-hypnosis and blocking out that negativity and only receiving positivity into your life all day long.
Could self-hypnosis also be called meditation?
No. So here's the differences with yoga, meditation, any of those types of principles is that when you are doing those principles, you're still open to the environment, and the environment has that negative energy around you. So you're still open to that. So when you become open in suggestibility and knowing that you're becoming open, you want to be able to control that. See, this is where the stigma of control happens for the hypnotist. The only thing that we're really controlling is the environment around you. Or if you're doing your self-hypnosis, you're controlling the environment that you're in. So that's the difference between a meditated state, a yoga state, where in the self-hypnotic state, you're actually controlling everything around you. So you're not allowing any negativity to enter your space.
So how do you self-hypnotize? I'm sure you can't do it in 20 seconds or less.
Explain I couldn't even explain it to you. It's a technique. It's something you learn and then you practice. It's like going to the gym if you want to build muscle or get healthy. It's not something that happens overnight or within seconds. I mean, it can. It depends on the individual. So I don't want to like categorize, but the bottom line is it's a technique and you learn it. Once you learn it, like for me, now I do my self-hypnosis within under 5 minutes now, and I do it with a single word, and basically I go into a self-hypnotic state for more energy or clarity or whatever it is that I'm trying to produce. So yes, it's a technique you can learn. You can learn, like I say, you can go to my website. We have you can purchase the product, whatever you need to do, or you can go learn it from the library. So it's a learned tool, yes.
And being able to do it with one word, of course, it's a different word from your safe word, but that's another discussion.
I'm telling you, Cary, I think you're in the wrong business. I've been told. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm in the entertainment business, been in the entertainment business for a very long time, and I'm telling you, you've got the talent. You got the chops, my friend.
Well, I'm, have been there for 20 years and I come and go. So we'll have to talk afterwards and we'll set up a little show together here. What's the most?
I'll have my people call your people. My people call your people.
My people will answer the phone, me.
Yeah. And we'll do lunch.
We'll do lunch together virtually. What's the most unusual thing you've successfully hypnotized someone for? And how I
love that question. I love that question. I get that almost in every single interview. I think it's because it's the curiosity of where people think that, okay, what is it that you're like? Look, here's how I approach this. And I have always approached this ever since I graduated, because I went to college to learn how to do this. There's only one college in the entire United States of America. And that's the college I went to because it gave college credit to learn this particular principle, which is hypnotherapy. And so to me, I never approached any issue that anyone has come to me with judgment. So I can't answer the question because I don't know what that is. I don't know what that value system is what is odd, strange, or, the most interesting thing you've hypnotized someone for, because to me, it's all the same. And I treat every issue that someone comes to see me as small as biting your nails, which I started with, that was me, all the way to want to achieve ultimate goals in their life. So I don't put a value or judgment system on any of it, so I can't really answer the question.
Well, here's one you can answer, and that was actually, it was a good answer. What are some common issues or challenges that celebrities, because that's a giant smorgasbord of customers for you, because celebrities need help. They just need help. My God, it's terrible. If you Google me, you'll be frightened at what you'll see, all the stuff that I've done. I'm like you. I've been out there. Celebrities need help. They're just neurotic. They're nervous, have a wrinkle. I don't know. They sat the wrong way in the toilet seat. It's just all terrible. What are some of the most common issues and challenges that celebrities seek your help with? And how do you assist them in overcoming these hurdles?
Sure. Absolutely. Great question, Cary. Well, here's the thing. This is what people forget because we have a tendency, because we see them in the media, on TV, movies, all of the time. So we have a tendency to put them into the 1% category of different people. Well, they're not. They're not any different than you or I or anyone else. They're people, and they have issues just like anyone else. Now, just like a CEO of a major company or a major sports figure or a celebrity, doesn't matter. They have different stresses, different pressures of life every single day and when they wake up. But the bottom line is we're all the same people. So we have all the same issues. But I will tell you this, to make the question more well-rounded, is that certain professions come with different pressures and stresses. So in the celebrity realm, it's more heavily concentrated with addiction. And that just doesn't mean alcohol or drug abuse. That's smoking and chocolate, all the way down to simple things like chocolate or things that they want to change for a character that they're getting into. So it really comes down to that. But the overall, basically, and just like you see in the media or in the news, it's addiction. And it's in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
So hypnosis has an ameliorative effect or a positive effect on addictive, because those of us who have addictive personalities, I put my hand up because I am definitely one of them. This actually can interfere with those unpleasant appetites.
Yes, absolutely. See, so if you're talking about weight loss, again, food is an emotional addiction automatically. And we eat not even thinking about it. And then we realize, oh, we just gained 150 pounds, not really realizing what happened. Just like with the pandemic, a lot of people sat around eating unhealthy foods. Then after the pandemic is coming to an end, they start to realize that.
Jump in, Kevin, because I want to meet the person who gained 150 pounds that doesn't know it. You know, these pants are a little snug. I mean, I'm not wearing pants because I can't get them on. I'm like Porky Pig. Have you ever noticed he never wore pants?
I never really thought about that, Cary. But good observation.
That's why I need help. And so I'm so glad you're here. But
whatever you need, my friend.
This is great that your level of hypnotic therapy, you're studying, your training, which has been widely recognized by all the TV networks and really the major media for having helped 1 million people, that there's actually real science behind it. And that's the part that pleases me the most. It's not stage trickery, you know, like which cup is the pea under, but there's actual real science. And we love knowing about brain science because that's so much of the answer to the problems that we have. And you found a way to like help people do it. Give us your website so people can go explore you.
My website's simple to remember. It's hypnotist.com. And I'm going to spell that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've owned that since the beginning of the internet. Right.
I was going to say that is the URL to die for. Boy, did you do good with that.
Well, let's just say that's my retirement account, Cary. So, so simple to remember, right? But some people think there's an I in hypnotism, right? They forget about the Y. And even when I type it in, my fingers, although they're thin, but somehow they hit the wrong key and it comes up with the wrong name. But it's hypnotist, HYP as in Paul, NOTIST.com. And so I have to remember myself when I put it in because sometimes I mess it up too. But it's a simple website and it's really not about me. See, my whole passion is about hypnotism and the applications of it. Why? Because it changed my life completely. So I really started taking it seriously after I graduated from college, learning how to do hypnotherapy and opened up my private practice. And so the website has a lot of great educational information on there. There's a Q&A on there because there's a ton of questions that people always ask. So the common questions are on there. There's a lot of resources on how to do hypnotism. And you can also contact me. I don't have my personal assistant look at my emails or any of that. It may take me a couple of weeks to get back to you, but if you do email me from the website, I will answer your questions and you will hear from me personally.
Well, what more could you want? My personal assistant doesn't speak English, so I have them read everything and then tell me what I need to worry about. And it works great. I have no problems and no worries, quite clearly. Right. I really appreciate talking to you today, Kevin Stone. You're a globally recognized expert on hypnosis, featured everywhere from MTV to Entertainment Tonight, People Magazine, a board-certified hypnotherapist who's hypnotized over 1 million people successfully for issues like smoking and weight loss and stress, techniques highly sought after by world leaders, top athletes, and celebrities. Cary Harrison with you. This is Reboot Your Life.
Hang on, your reboot reboots in a moment.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran Of course.
Yes.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Riverside Recovery of Tampa was created to offer state-of-the-art treatment options to people suffering from addiction. The model was developed to meet clients and their families where they're at and provide them with the tools and education needed so that they can achieve long-term recovery. No two people are the same, and no two people have the same experience with addiction. And it is for this reason that we tailor each treatment plan to the unique needs of each individual. Located alongside the Hillsborough River in the heart of Tampa, Riverside Recovery offers the full continuum of care. And what that means is that we offer medical detoxification, residential care, day treatment, intensive outpatient, and outpatient levels of care. The program at Riverside is focused on high-quality clinical care offered in a safe, comfortable, and serene environment where everyone feels empowered to change the course of their lives. The stigma that surrounds addiction continues to be high on the list of reasons that people don't seek help. At Riverside Recovery, we're working to change the narrative and empower people to recognize addiction as a disease, not a moral failing. We can recover, and we do, as evidenced by the thousands of people who have taken that courageous first step in asking for help. The staff at Riverside understand what it's like to recover. In fact, over 75% of our staff are in long-term recovery. So if you or someone you know needs help and are ready to seek treatment, call Riverside Recovery of Tampa at 1-800-871-5440. That's 800-871-5440. You can learn more about the treatment we provide at rrtampa.com. Again, that's rrtampa.com.
Life 2.0. It's your life and your reboot. It's Reboot Your Life with Cary Harrison.
Cary Harrison with you, and thanks for joining us on Reboot Your Life, where we help you get back the life you love. Well, he found solace in theater and performance, inspired by Barbra Streisand's iconic role in Funny Girl. His diverse roles in Hollywood have challenged stereotypes and reflected his personal struggles. From roles in The Birth of a Nation to the series Smothered, he's left a remarkable mark on the industry, despite an obstacle that 10% of the human race actually encounters: being an out gay Hollywood actor. Jason Stewart's story is a testament to resilience and authenticity. It's a story of finding your inner strength. So join me now in welcoming the incredible Jason Stewart.
Wow. I felt like you were talking about someone else.
I was. But now that you're here, let's just make it about you.
Why not? Yeah. My self-esteem has just moved up an inch.
And that's what we're here for, to help you get back the life you love. Jason Stewart, your journey on the entertainment industry, it's truly remarkable. Maybe you could share with us a defining moment that shaped your career path.
Well, God, how far do you want to go back? I think in terms of my craft, I would say the film Birth of a Nation, because everything came together. So in 2015, I was cast in the film as a white heterosexual Christian plantation owner in 1831. And yeah, crazy, huh? And I got it through an agent that was in New Orleans because I had seen an ad in Variety that said they were looking for people all over the country to do movies and TV shows, rather than just here. This was probably when I started. Oh my God, this idea started in 2009 because everybody was getting tax breaks. And this agent didn't care that I was gay. And she just set me up for things. And I got called in for this part. I got this part. I actually went down on my own dime and for the callback. And I met Nate Parker. And there's a whole long story about it. It's all in my book. Here we go, right? Shut up, I'm talking. Called The Birth of an Actor. And it really changed who I was as a person, because I got involved in being involved with a man, Nate Parker, who actually lifted me up. He actually lifted me up and put me on a completely new creative cloud. And 3 weeks of working on that film as an actor with some of the most extraordinary actors in the business I mean, just so many wonderful, wonderful character actors and so many wonderful movie stars and people that were working at their highest level. And then we went to Sundance and we went to TIFF in Canada, and the film was a big explosion and changed everything about the way I thought about myself and what I could accomplish after
and
being
that's really the central point here is self-image and coming up as somebody who would check a box called other. And your whole life, you've checked a box called other, but everyone else does not seem to be checking that box. You have to live in their world, but they never step into your world. And it's so much work finding out who you are and being true to that. It's an uphill climb, especially when you're gay, especially when you're not part of the mainstream, and agents are not running looking for like gay. Oh, well, let's have a gay actor. How many have we got there in the Rolodex to do?
Well, they do that now. I think they do that now with younger people that are under 30. You know what I mean? If I was the little crazy boy that I was in my 20s, running around trying to get a job, acting like I was Marlo Thomas on That Girl, which a lot of people don't even remember, I didn't know who I was. I was coming out in my own self as other people were watching me. And I was told that who I was wrong. And I remember a casting director named Jackie Birch, who when I used to go to Universal, I would just go there, drop off my picture and resume all over the place. And she was so kind to me. And somebody had told me that I had to be more masculine, one of my acting class teachers. So I walked in there like this and said, "Hi, Jackie, how are you?" And she said, "Jason, you look crazy. You look like you're walking like you got off a horse." And this woman cast me in Kindergarten Cop, Vegas Vacation, Lost and Found, every crazy. I was even cast in Fright Night, the original one, but at my part got cut. She, so many other, Dennis Leary's Bad Boys, not Bad Boys, what was it called? I forgot the name of the movie, but they changed the name of it. But I did so many films for her, and she was just so supportive of me. It really changed me who I was, and it really helped my stand-up career to have some great comedy movies attached to me. And it's all about showing up. It's like what they said, showing up is, 90% of the job. It's just showing up over and over and over again, constantly. And I didn't know. I mean, my father was a Polish immigrant, a Holocaust survivor, not the camps, but the ghettos. And he used to say to me, when you go to the interview, what you need to do is you need to wear a tie. Let them know you mean business. And what he meant was to be your best self. That's what I've always tried to do. Haven't always succeeded. I've made mistakes. We were talking on the phone. You never know when you're supposed to follow people that like to be chased and people like to call you. You never know because you're sort of in a space of not knowing. So you have to go with your gut, and you will make mistakes, and that's okay.
There is some truth to when you feel it may not be true, but when you feel like people have your back, you can actually jump off the high dive and do great swimming dive technique because you think somebody's got your back. It's really hard in life just doing it on your own. This is why we have recovery groups and centers and places where teams of people can actually show you that you're going to be okay and how to do it. And comedy for you, I think, and I'm speculating here, but I think it was also a way to use humor to address serious social issues that you were dealing with, that millions were dealing with.
For me, it was completely all about trying to get a job as an actor. When I first started, I had no idea. This was the 80s. I started in 83. I was very young. And I just wanted to be an actor. And that's all I had been. And I had a casting director, manager friend of mine, and, who I was with, who I actually had to work in her office part-time in order for her to handle me. And that's how that's how hard it was for me. I had done a showcase where I was very funny in, and from a play called Bad Habits. And she had said, "You're so funny, you should do stand-up." And I said, "No, I'm an actor. I'm not a comedian. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to play myself." So I actually created a character of being a comedian, a guy with leopard pants and a zebra jacket. And I spiked my hair up and I danced in a circle because I didn't want anybody to know I was gay. Just so crazy. And then what happened is for years, and I was really funny. So I became a very popular featured act on the road. And then after that, I had done a star search and I won one episode and I lost one to Martin Lawrence and stamped my foot and walked off to be funny. And it was quite a big thing at the time because no one had ever done that. And then what happened was, I'd say around 1990-ish, I started to get really depressed and thinking that I couldn't go anywhere, that I had no voice, that I had no way of speaking my truth of who I was. I couldn't evolve into being a headliner. And then I decided to come out. And I came out in 1993 on a show called The Geraldo Rivera Show. And it completely changed the trajectory of my life and my career. A lot of people told me not to come out, and, with good reason. They were scared for me. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but it exploded, and I became a major headliner in comedy clubs. And I did that until probably I'd say around, 2000, 2003 or 4, when I really worked the clubs. I was doing it 2 clubs a week. But we were talking, I was never paid as an equal. I was never treated as an equal. I used to call myself a circus act. It's where all the women, people of color, anybody that wasn't represented by a 3-letter agency, CAA, ICM, all those things. And I never had the that support in that big way by someone who could, they always say it's who you know. It's who you know, who likes you, and who's willing to make that call. And there's not a lot of people that will do that for you. And I just kept my job.
Yeah, we have Monique recently, Academy Award winning, making statements about how you're really acknowledging the fact that as a woman of color, it was not as easy as it might have been for not a woman of color. And I think a lot of people just forget, and they just, because maybe they don't have a problem with somebody looking like that or talking like that. But the industry itself, it's like in the 1950s half the time still.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. This is a really interesting experience. I don't think you know this because we've never spoke about it. But when I got the role in Birth of a Nation, a press release was sent out through my management company at the time. It said, "Gay guy gets straight role." And that was the only time in the actual release where we said that. And we talked about Birth of a Nation and what I've been doing. And one casting director sent back an email and said, I've never been so, I'm paraphrasing, never been so offended. How dare you think that we won't cast gay people, and da-da-da-da-da. And my manager, they called me and they said, "What do you think we should do?" I said, "This is what you say back to them." And I learned this by being in the 12-step program. And I've been in for 34 years, not for Al-Anon, which is about being powerless over people, places, and things. And I said, "This is what you say. We're so glad that you feel that way. Thank you. But that's not been our experience." And it has not been my experience until recently. But now what the problem is you don't have the roots of having a series in the 80s, like my friend Drew Carey or Damon Wayans or the people I came up with, or having that big movie that came out, that you had whatever kind of supporting role in a comedy, especially, because I had been known for stand-up. I just didn't have that support in that way. So, and I have over 160 credits as an actor, another 120 or so as a comedian. I'm not somebody who wasn't chosen. I'm one of the really lucky ones, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But what happens to your psyche as a person when you're told because of who you are, you're not allowed to move to the next place, or you're too old now and you've missed the boat, or, and no one really says it out loud, but you know it, you feel it. And you see what's in the comedy clubs with the ages of the people. You see how many gay people are on there, how many women are on there. It still has. And
comedians no longer look like Don Rickles. They look like a 23-year-old surfer.
Oh, yeah.
Being not be funny, really.
Yeah. Being a hot-looking model kind of persona, or being very sexy, has now become very much a part of stand-up comedy. Not that there aren't funny people that are good-looking, but it just never was their area. And now everybody's a comedian, everybody's a social influencer and stuff. So you have to learn as an older person to navigate that. And that's why I created the series with Mitch Hara. I co-wrote and co-produced a series called Smothered, about these 2 guys who had been in a relationship for 30 years, who hate each other, but can't afford to get divorced. And for the first season, we got nominated for the Queerty Awards. We got, I think we got 4 Indie Series Award nominations, and I won Best Actor. And the second season, we got literally 11 nominations, and a week from, I don't know when this is going to be on, but on the 15th is when the award ceremony is. So I'm really excited to see about my cast and crew and Mitch and everybody being acknowledged for their absolutely wonderful work. And I remember when I got the award and I got on stage, I'd never gotten an award where I actually had to walk on a stage. I'd gotten a certificate or somebody had chosen, but never that had happened. And I was so shocked. I remember turning to Mitch and saying, "Hey, did they call my name? I'm not insane." He said, "Yes, get up there, idiot." And I got up there and I thought I was going to be really funny. And the first thing I said was, "This took such a long time." And it still gets to me because it did, just to be acknowledged by your peers, and the indie people are really my peers. Those are my people.
You know, it reminds me of the famous moment, and it was many years ago. So some of the younger people watching this as video may not have remembered this, may not have seen it, but I think people listening to the radio probably are going to be of the right age to remember this, when Sally Field got her award and said, "You love me, you really do." And everyone laughed at it, made fun of her in the press. But this was that same thing.
Well, it's that moment because people didn't really understand. This is a woman who came from playing the Flying Nun and Gidget, and the girl was something extra, and she was the butt of jokes. She was ridiculed during the 60s and 70s when everybody was really cool. And I have to say, I'm at my knees at the fountain of Sally Field. I mean, there's an incredible story about how she got Lincoln, and it's online and you can find it. And she, even after 2 Academy Awards and I think 3 Emmys and a Tony nomination, she was still begging for work. And Spielberg had wanted her for the role of Mary Todd, and then with Liam Neeson, and then Liam Neeson dropped out for whatever reason, and Daniel Day-Lewis got up, and they didn't think that she could play against him because he was younger than her, and da-da-da-da. And she fought for that audition. She went in there and actually auditioned, you know, with 2 Academy Awards in her purse, 3 Emmys, and a Tony nomination. My God. And she got the role, and she got another Academy Award nomination, and it gave her career a big boost, you know, over the years. And what a brilliant actress. I mean, my God, if I could have done, you know, half the things that she's been able to do. But people don't talk about that because they mostly talk about men. They don't talk about women as much, or gay people. We are in a world where straight heterosexual men are at the forefront. And certainly with the politics today, you see when they don't get their spot, they get very upset. But it's time that, you know, to share that pie. And I had a publicist say to me, "What do you really think about your career?" I said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, when you break the ground, do you get to walk on it?" And I broke the ground, and I intend on walking on it. I mean, I've been, you know, so underestimated over the years. This sounds so much like poor me, but it isn't, because I've been incredibly lucky compared to most. I really have. I've been so lucky, but I give that to my dad for his support and tenacity, and my mom for her sense of humor, and her bawdiness, and to the people I grew up with. My parents never held my hand. They weren't the kind of parents that held me up. You know, my mother used to say, "Just come home with a C. That's all I'm asking." My father would say, "Why don't you be a lawyer or a psychiatrist on the side? You're so good at talking." And I said, "Dad, how can I pursue my career if I do that?" And I never had a plan B. Never had a plan B. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how much rejection had come to me. And you know, and I learned at a very, very young age that I was going to have to hold on. I remember going to the open call for The Outsiders about the Coppola film. It was The Outsiders and Rumblefish. There were these 2 books that we had read for kids in school, and I thought, "Oh my God, I'm the right age. I'm this, I'm that." I went with my jeans and my burgundy vest from my high school graduation suit, and one of those shirts without the collars and the stripes, and had my hair parted down the middle and layered. And I stood in line with everybody. And I remember the casting directors came by, and she looked at me and she went, "Oh, that's never going to work. You're wrong." And they never even they saw something that. It was the first time I saw what I call the gay look, and where I was dismissed. And I just said hello, and, you know, "Hey, I'm excited to be here." And, you know, and I never had the opportunity to audition and be who I am. I mean, believe me, one of the kids probably was a gay kid in that book when that was written.
Could have been. Let me just reintroduce you, because people come and get out of cars, get into cars, all the different ways that they're consuming this show right now. Cary Harrison.
Don't crash. Don't crash.
Oh, if they do, they'll listen longer. Cary Harrison with you. We're talking to Jason Stewart. His diverse roles in Hollywood have challenged stereotypes and reflected his personal struggles, from movies like Birth of a Nation to Smothered. Being an out gay Hollywood actor, a serious poster boy for resilience, suiting up, showing up, getting down despite the knocks, and is giving us some interesting insight on how do you face rejection. We all do in life over and over again, but how do you get back up each time? Jason, let's talk a little bit about aging, because that is a reality for at least half this nation. We're just getting older. You can't opt out of it. See, but you still want to do your thing.
Is there someone I could call?
That's the problem.
So, wait, I'll get my landline phone and I'll call someone.
Riverside Recovery of Tampa was created to offer state-of-the-art treatment options to people suffering from addiction. The model was developed to meet clients and their families where they're at. At Riverside Recovery, we're working to change the narrative and empower people to recognize addiction as a disease, not a moral failing. We can recover, and we do, as evidenced by the thousands of people who have taken that courageous first step in asking for help. Call Riverside Recovery of Tampa at 1-800-871-5440. That's 800-871-5440. rrtampa.com.
So that's the thing, is you come now with all this wealth of knowledge. You come now with years of actually seeing every possible problem getting fixed, getting discovered. You now can analyze, you can predict, if I do this, this is likely going to happen. That's the wisdom of age. But people aren't looking to hire that particular wisdom. They're looking for maybe a visual thing, or they don't even know what they're looking for, or the casting director is 20 years younger and can't even conceive of that. So how do you keep getting up every morning despite the depression? Netflix has a new comedy series, and I know a lot of different comics at your level were not invited to be on that show, which was a bummer for a lot of you. And it's like, what is this?
Well, I think it's about having a 3-letter agency. I think it's about being, as I said, being friends with the people that are producing it and then wanting to be of support of you. I think it's a lot of stuff I don't know. You know, it's never been told to me. I think it's about having, well, you know what, I'll tell you what I think it is in a way. So I saw the movie Origin about the book called Cast. And there's a certain way of people thinking about you through the ages and how we have cast each other in a box. And then you put yourself in the box that you're cast in. And then you stay in that box and you make it look really pretty. And sometimes you go out around it in the yard, but you're not allowed to go further around. And when you ask to go further around in a time when you're not supposed to ask, which I did, I came out in 1993 and I started asking to be treated as an equal way before other people did, because I didn't know any better. If I knew what was going to happen and I saw, a film of my career like that Albert Brooks film, I would have just completely been scared half to death. But I asked to do that, and I showed up and I suited up, and couldn't get the people that were, of power at that time to represent me. I got a lot of nice people. A lot of people really tried, but they didn't have the power themselves. So I think it's very important for one to have a support team of friends and people, to have some sort of support group that you can be a part of that will build you up and give you the tools to realize that the block that you have in your life is the block that you have in your acting work or your stand-up comedy work. It's the same thing. And I support other people in that. I believe very strongly in the last 2 steps of the program, which is giving back. I think it's really important to mentor people. My first series was called Mentor, that I did with Paul Elia 10 years ago, that I created. And to create your own work. And also, have to have an innate love of the work. I love being an actor. I love being on the set. I love making people laugh. And I love being the best that I can be. There's a lot of people that have given up that I know that are my age. They give up the integrity of their work. They give up, they're working non-union. They're doing all sorts of things because they desperately want to work, and it's very difficult now. We're in a time where we don't know what's going to happen next. And I think it's really important to keep your integrity as a person, to make sure that you show up to your work and do the best that you can do, and have a support team of people. And if you don't have one, get a therapist, get on medication, whatever you need to do to get yourself to the next place in life so you can wake up in the morning and feel better about yourself. Today, I have my friend Harrison who asked me to be on his show. And we have this great conversation the night before because I was on another show, because I was doing service of somebody who had just started their show and wanted me to be on it. And that's about being of service to other people doing creative things, to show up to people's plays, to their movies, to their stand-up shows, to their singing performances. Show up for other people, try to be there for your cohorts. And if somebody's great, like a friend of mine lost her agent, and I'm going to tell my agent about her today. And that's really important to do that. She's incredibly talented, incredibly driven, and somebody that I think should really get a shot. And why wouldn't I do that for somebody?
That's right. That's right. And that's, really the primary reason that I invited you on is because you do have the recovery chops, you do have the resilience chops, you do have the give back chops, you do have the mentoring chops. And, when we do see this in really self-centered industries like Hollywood, where there are some people that have broken out and are doing great things, we want to know about it. And we want to know what you've seen and how you did it, so that our audiences and that any of us just listening this way can grow and benefit from those shortcuts, saving us all 5 more years of endless misery when you've already unfortunately experienced it, but survived it and are now thriving because of it.
Cary, never stop learning.
Jason Stewart's diverse roles in Hollywood have challenged stereotypes and reflected his personal struggles, from movies like Birth of a Nation to Smothered. Being an out gay Hollywood actor, Jason Stewart's story is a story of finding your inner strength. Cary Harrison with you, and this is Reboot Your Life.
Hang on, your reboot reboots in a moment.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Riverside Recovery of Tampa was created to offer state-of-the-art treatment options to people suffering from addiction. The model was developed to meet clients and their families where they're at and provide them with the tools and education needed so that they can achieve long-term recovery. No two people are the same, and no two people have the same experience with addiction. And it is for this reason that we tailor each treatment plan to the unique needs of each individual. Located alongside the Hillsborough River in the heart of Tampa, Riverside Recovery offers the full continuum of care. And what that means is that we offer medical detoxification, residential care, day treatment, intensive outpatient, and outpatient levels of care. The program at Riverside is focused on high-quality clinical care offered in a safe, comfortable, and serene environment where everyone feels empowered to change the course of their lives. The stigma that surrounds addiction continues to be high on the list of reasons that people don't seek help. At Riverside Recovery, we're working to change the narrative and empower people to recognize addiction as a disease, not a moral failing. We can recover, and we do, as evidenced by the thousands of people who have taken that courageous first step in asking for help. The staff at Riverside understand what it's like to recover. In fact, over 75% of our staff are in long-term recovery. So if you or someone you know needs help and are ready to seek treatment, call Riverside Recovery of Tampa at 1-800-871-5440. That's 800-871-5440. You can learn more about the treatment we provide at rrtampa.com. Again, that's rrtampa.com.
Learn more at rrtampa.com. Reboot your life today.